just talked about search warrants. I just talked about the four corners of a search warrant affidavit. And the question in response to that was, well, what happens if the police, they have a valid four corners warrant? In other words, there's probable cause in the warrant, and they go into a suspect's house and they're supposed to be looking for a kilo or a brick of cocaine, and then they find something else. They find maybe unlawful or an unlawful firearm, we'll say, or some other instrumentality of crime. It's a good question. So here's how this shakes out. First of all, we have the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment says no searches without a warrant, and you would think, well, that means just what it says, no searches without a warrant, except over the years, the U.S. Supreme Court has decided that there are exceptions to the search warrant requirement. One of those exceptions is something called plain view. All right, so here's what that means. If the police are lawfully in a place, and that place may be your home if they have a search warrant and they're allowed to be in there, and they see some contraband sitting there in plain view, they're not required simply to ignore it and not seize it. They can act on it. So the police are in your house and they have a search warrant to look for a brick of cocaine, and lo and behold, they find a brick of cocaine under your bed, and next to the brick of cocaine is an automatic, is a machine gun, a fully automatic machine gun, which is an unlawful gun. They're not required to ignore that evidence. In fact, we would all think, even as a criminal defense lawyer, I would think, well, it makes sense. They should be able to seize that because it was found in plain view. Now, if it turns out we go to court and the search warrant affidavit isn't valid, then the police were not there in good faith, or in a place they were allowed to be, rather, and they see something in plain view. Now everything as a result of that invalid warrant gets thrown out.